Hello, this is Matt from Tiger Ghost, and today we're going to check out Quester Party. Okay, before we get started setting everything up, there's one game mechanic in Quester Party you're going to want to remember. It's called the bump. So if you're looking at the top cards, whether it be drawing questers, power cards, or quest cards, you can bump the top card and send it to the bottom, and you would be drawing the next card on the top. We are going to play a game with 3 players. The setup is slightly different for games with 4 or 5 players. And after you draw, you're going to want to always keep half. So you draw up, let's say 6 questers, 6 power cards. You look through what you want, and then you discard half of it. So 3 questers and 3 power cards go to the discard. So let's draw up our party. Okay, first things first, for our 3-player game, every player in the game is going to want to draw 4 questers and 4 power cards. This is one player's draw for the beginning of the game. These are the power cards, and these are the questers. Some power cards, like the artifacts, match any quester, so we're definitely going to keep that. These aren't going to help us at all because we have no hero code questers. You see here on the power cards, there's a symbol. If you can see that, that is the hero code. This hero juice is not going to work for us, but it might work for somebody else in our party. So we have the moth mask, which is going to work well for our moon code. So we just look at our party, we decide, okay, we can keep 2 questers and 2 power cards. So why don't we keep the artifact, the first light, and the moth mask, and we'll keep Bebby, and we'll keep Angel. We've got the moth mask on Bebby, and Angel on the first light. So now we got to do that for every player is going to drop their characters for the game. Now we have our party all together. This is player 1, player 2, and player 3. So for a game with 3 players, the party maximum at any time during the game is going to be 6 questers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is our maximum. It can't get any bigger. For games of 4 or 5, the party max is 4 or 5. The way the game begins is we have our starting leader. We'll have player 1 be starting leader over here. You can decide that however you'd like. Flip a coin. Before player 1 starts out our quest, they can freely trade any power cards if they'd like to. The leader will say player 1 is the leader, and they have to determine a lead quester. So they have to put 1 quester that's out in front, so just push it up ahead. That means Bear is the leader here. So Bear starts out, and so as leader, Bear's going to look at these cards. Now, the quest cards tell you 2 different things. The arrows on this quest card here tell me that this is a monster, so this is going to be a fight. If the quest card has no arrows, then it is going to be a location that you are exploring within the world of Mutra. So the benefit for a leader to fight is that no matter what happens, if this monster is defeated, then the leader gets this card, and the leader gets these points. Each quest card has points on it. So the benefit of the leader drawing the foe card is that the leaders always collect a foe. Now the benefit for a location is that it's, first of all, you most likely won't perish. And also, they're worth points. And if you have the most, the power type listed on that location, this one happens to be Gaia power. In this case, Bear is the only quester on the table that has any Gaia power. So Bear is guaranteed to take home this card. So not only is Bear going to take this card, but there's a power icon listed here. So that means Bear's going to also draw a power card. So Bear's going to do that. Explore Brother's Isle and draw a power card. As you can see here, this is a shaman card. And player 1 has no use for a shaman card, so they're going to bump that down. And they drew a sun code card, which matches karate, and karate is pumped. So now, next player, player 2. Player 2's turn. Now they're leader. They have to assign a leader. They're going to put Chunka out in front. So Chunka is now leading the quest. And onward we go. So let's fight a foe. So the party is very weak. in Gaia power. They have very low Gaia power. So they would most likely be destroyed by any Gaia creature. But let's try it anyway. So they're going to draw this. Lightning beetles. So first thing you want to read is the exclamation point here. This is the foe attack. So this happens before any of the matching happens. So the first thing is, read this. Questers with 0 wild power, discard 1 power card. So that means any quester in the party that has no wild power has to discard a power card. That is a bummer for this party because they have no wild power. So they both lose these power cards. Chunka will keep theirs. Kuku will keep theirs because they have wild power. Bear loses theirs. And Karate is all set. Karate's got 0. But on that particular play there, you lost 2 powerful artifacts. But have no fear, they can be regained later on in the game. But now we add up our power orbs. So we need 6 green Gaia power and 3 wild power. So first, you take a look at your party now. We've got 3 wild for sure. We got 3 wild. And we've got 1 green and 1 wild. Didn't work out. This party is going to lose a quester here. So what happens now? This foe is returned to the bottom of one of the decks. You can choose any deck. And Chunka goes to the discard, the graveyard, and the power card is lost as well. So now the party is down 1 quester. Player 2 only has 1 quester. And next player. So the next player is going to want to probably try to get to a camp. And we'll try to find a camp. So they're going to probably go here. Well, it's a World's Edge pub. So they're going to explore this. And it looks like this would actually be collected by Bebby here. By player number 3 would get that card. Next player, let's find a camp. So here we go. We've got the ice caves. This is a camp. So now, because we've reached a camp, we'll draw back to the party maximum. Player 2 is going to draw a quester. We're going to look over here and say, okay, let's draw that. They got Zune. And then they're also going to draw a power card as well. We're going to bump that down, trying to get to a card. So that is now this fairy power card they drew is totally useless because there's no keepers in the party at all. So they just flip that over. But the party is back to some strength. Object of the game here as we go onward. This would get collected by player number 2. The object of the game would be to locate these boss locales. Once the boss locale is located, the player who collects it, let's say in this case it's player 1. Player 1 collects that. They can, on their turn, if they so choose, decide to go for a boss card. So they would draw a boss card like normal. In this case, they probably would try to bump that down. And they draw the boss card. And just like a foe, this is a foe, the standard foe, they have power orbs, but they have a lot more of them. And they have a specialized foe attack, the thing you want to look out for. Power card artifacts can be used to satisfy totally one of the power orbs. So if you have the power skull, for example, you can discard that, and that will take care of all of the wild power required here. So then all that leaves is 9 sun power or light power and 5 dark power. So once you defeat the boss, player 1 would keep that. If they did not defeat the boss, actually in this case they would have been defeated, but let's say they did win, the player would keep that card, and that's worth 12 points, and they would go again. Now, in this case, they would actually lose, and when a boss is victorious, the boss stays at this locale, and you just keep that up on the table, and this whole party and all the power cards all are discarded. And so what happens then? Players keep their points. Actually, player number 2 would keep this fairy. Now what happens is they redraw a party. A whole new party gets drawn, just like they did in the beginning of the game, and along with power cards and on. A note on a few of the power cards. The story card. These story cards can, once played on a quester, they can be played on any quester. They cannot be removed for any reason. The only time this card would actually go away is if bear is discarded. Then this would go to the discard. They have special actions that make your character a little bit more powerful, and they're good to have. Now another type of power card that's special from the others are the cursed power cards, and these detract from your score at the end of the game. So you want to basically, they do have good effects. None of them hurt you other than losing points. Seeing Eye, for example, lets you see into the future, but will detract from your score. The artifacts are the most powerful items in the game, and you'd like to, as a group, try to protect them. The artifacts, when you discard it, can satisfy all that power on any foe. So let's say we got a powerful foe here, or let's go to a boss. Let's find a boss here. This boss here, the Gulper. Gulper's got 5 light power. You could discard your first light, and it would satisfy all 5 light power. So you wouldn't need to have 5 light power. Just discard that first light. Now they're all worth a lot of points, so you're going to lose those points, but save the party in the process.